actually have some Suship action for you today. Charmers and even Dark Magician. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more. We're kind of heading into the new format here, and I want to take a look at all of the ideas that players were kind of throwing at their screens for the new ban list. And one of the funny ones was Dark Magician Suship. Because this is just a combination of things that I didn't really think that players would like to see. Obviously, you know, the barrel stuff giving you free access into Dark Magicians. And of course, you know, the Sherry is really, really cool. But also, you know, Dark Magical Curtain into this and access into the Gaze of Timaeus. Oh my gosh, you know. You got a free Red Eyes Dark Dragoon that's going to be turbo accessing, and you're just going to be able to do some really stupid play lines with this. So I thought that this was a very unique take on what we've got going on in the meta. And, you know, we talk a little bit about developments of the meta. You know, this just seemed very, very, very funny. Next up is the Fairy Tale deck. Now, the way that, you know, the Charmer pile has gone, I mean, it's kind of been everybody's dream to want to make Charmers into a semi-competitive deck. And I mean, like, they did a good job with Charmers of the Grand Circle. But, like, at the same time, we need something to try to make this deck a little bit more consistent. Obviously, you know, kicking out a Droll and Lockbird to adjust down to the new list is going to be fine. But you're definitely playing a wide range of Charmer cards to try to maximize the perfect results for this list. And like I said, you're going to be walking into some different little issues that a deck like this is going to have. But I do think the Fairy Tale stuff is supposed to be a saving grace for this deck. You know, you want to be able to have the Fairy Tale monsters at least consistently helping you out with things. And that's definitely a decent thing to consider. Next up is Dark Magician, the Pharaoh's Servant, leaping into action. You know, there's a lot of cool things that you can do with this. Now, this is basically going to be a gold sarcophagus pile that's focusing on actually having access to the Dark Magician stuff, which is actually kind of fine because Gandora is an ignorant card. Gandora being able to kind of clear up a field of problems for you that you can kind of go on ahead and access and kind of clean up, I don't actually think is all that bad. You know, we kind of got to talk about the differences and choices of options for this list. I mean, having access to Stronghold doesn't exactly seem like a good thing, but that's fine. I also see we do have the Silent Swordsman 0 in here as a tech choice as well. And of course the Battle-Face Stopper. And we're also playing ties that bind together as well. I mean, you're already playing the Silent Magician, so extending into the extra Spellcaster pile, I don't think is necessarily going to be too bad for the deck. Next up here, we have Diabellstar and Friends. You know, the OCG was so nice this last list. They decided that we could have more Diabellstars to work with, which, you guessed it, everybody, which is just going to make Dark Magical Curtain an even more ignorant card for you to work with. I mean, free Dark Spellcasters for everybody. This also is going to turn this actual core basic Dark Magician into something a little bit more terrifying as well. I do find it really funny that, you know, being able to curtain into the Dark Magician gets you into the Gaze of Timaeus, which just straight gets you into a big fatty on the field that your opponent's then going to have to find an answer to deal with. Like, that's why we want to have the payoff with these sorts of strong, powerful monsters, and I do kind of like that. This just is another case of Gaze of Timaeus, good card. Dark Magical Curtain, even better card for the meta. Next up, we get to see some spellbooks. Now, when I originally saw this list, I thought this was really cool, and I really wish we could do some things with this. Because we do have access to Diabellstar here, you are going to notice we do get to play the Jet Synchron. Now, this is all because OSS is still a viable card in the OCG. Being able to have access to OSS, allowing you to bridge from one engine into another to get this and to get a extra body to kind of work with, does open up some maybe not so fun play lines that you would want to be seeing. And honestly, this is a discussion worth having. You know, can OSS finally come back to our side of the game? But I also like the fact that they are playing, gosh darn it, man, all the crazy little Spellbook of Judgment play lines you can do with this. This would also be a really cool deck to have access to with Jaugen, which the OCG still has, but they're not actually choosing to explore that part of this deck. So that's kind of interesting. Next up, we have DoomZ. Now, when we do get this stupid guy right here, he is going to open up some very, very, very ignorant play lines to this deck. And honestly, I'm more surprised to see that DoomZ has been doing relatively well in the OCG. This has been kind of like one of the boogeyman decks of the room, because the way that the deck just kind of interacts and starts off, it's kind of crazy. Obviously, you know, you have the way to get to Viridium off of the Unleashed portals here, which just kind of opens up some doors. I also see, because we are a rank 4 deck, we can actually deploy Utopia, the Envoy of Light, which, I mean, having some extra damage to kind of burst through the opponent does kind of make a difference. Outside of that, I mean, you still have access to the big guy. And then, of course, we have the stupid power trap card on it as well, which actually does kind of floodgate the opponent out of the game. So, you know, there are things to be said with this. Next up here, we have Spright. Now, this list definitely piqued my interest because we're playing Gale Dogra. Now, Gale Dogra is just pay 3k, dump something from the extra deck. Traditionally, we would play this in combination with the Herald to drop the monster from the extra deck, and then we'd just be like, oh, okay, cool, you know, we have a tool asset that we could use here, but things have kind of changed at the moment. So things that we can drop. We can drop a Totally Awesome, which is going to recur back an Aqua Monster, which is actually not too bad. I kind of like that. We can also use it to drop Malong. Malong's going to provide us with a bounce, and Ints can provide us with a destruction effect. We're just kind of using this as like a level 2 option to be able to do things. Maybe people kind of overlooked this. Having a level 2 that we can just kind of pivot on along and be like, oh, hey, this is really cool. You know, also all extra Ultimate Slayer fodder built into the deck is kind of interesting. Next up here, we have some Orcust fun. You know, there's been, honestly, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of people that have been testing out Orcust in the OCG. Like, you have different really cool play lines that you could work with this deck to do some devastating things. Now, this build is choosing to do the Dark Magical Curtain to get access into Dark Magician Destruction, which gets you into D-Mod, which the Dragoon also can provide you with a discard outlet for you to do things. But also this build's playing the Gold Sarcophagus stuff to turbo into this, which also gives you access to the Gandora. Gandora also can provide you an extra free body to be able to link out, so you know you can get the Galtea up and running. Because remember, it only needs one of the appropriate monsters. You know, it doesn't really give a crap what the second one is, as long as it's an effect monster for you to be able to work with. So that's kind of a little bit of a discussion to have here, is, you know, the takeaways that these extra engines are kind of providing for you. Next up here, boy, how many Jack Atlas turbo decks can you expect to jam pack into one setting? Red Nova Dragon, the Burning Soul, was a good prime example of corrected card design that actually just kind of gives you some unique tools to work with things. And I think that's actually kind of a cool thing that we wanted to see. Also, you know, your deck does take a great deal of synchro materials to provide up to the Red Hypernova, but, you know, getting access to this card and then toggling down into the Red Nova Dragon, like, it's just really cool to see all of these different Red Dragon monsters actually having play in a deck, and it actually working out very, very nicely. So this is the toolbox that we are left with right now for Red Dragons, and all of the new play lines in a deck like this works out very, very, very beautifully. And then we also have, oh boy, the Rokket pile. You know, Rocket's having access to the Rokket Barrage Barrage is so frickin' stupid, but also we're playing the Kaiser Glider, the Golden Burst as well. This being a level 6 that we can just deploy seems pretty decent. I see we're also side decking the Rocket Loader, which is kind of interesting as well. Didn't really expect that. We have the Feather Duster built into the main deck. We also have the Boral Reboot as well. But also, you know, this deck's whole purpose is to Eclipse Wyvern, go to town, and actually just kind of get the free W's for this. So not actually doing too bad here. So please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And it's definitely another good OCG Thursday. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.